Hi, amazing day, everyone. For those who are with me this afternoon on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook, I'd like you to know that I'm grateful to have you here with me today. Before I continue, may I know if you hear me okay? Can you type on the chat box or comment section the word yes if you hear me okay? And if you see my video, I'm gonna check your answers here on my other gadget. Do you hear me and see me? Anyone from Zoom? Type in yes. Okay. Thank you, Catalino Rivera and John Ginto, for your answer. Okay. Let me know also, where are you watching from? From which part of the Philippines, or are there also from overseas? Let me know by typing it on the chat box or comment section, and I will read it later. But for now, let me ask the admin to play my video reel for my short profile introduction. All right. So that's my short profile introduction. Again, amazing afternoon to everyone. I see there are more than 100 audience right now online, Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook viewers. And I see that there are people from Lucena City, Quezon Province, Tuguegarao, Antipolo, Sarangani, Kidapawan City, North Cotabato, Capas Tarlac, my hometown, Bacakeng, City of Pines, and also we have from, where else? Bacolod City, Parañaque City, Manila, Naga City, Laguna, Mandaluyong City, Rizal, Laguna, Lipa City, NCR, okay, Marikina, Butuan, and Mount Province. All right. All over the Philippines, thank you for tuning in. And thank you for having me and Limitless Power Coach as part of your afternoon. So today's webinar is entitled Leadership, How to Start Your 2021 Right. This is actually an introduction to the full and half courses that I conduct with Limitless Power Coach, which I will introduce to you later, okay? So let me now share my screen. Okay. So I guess you can see my screen now. A quick overview of what I will be discussing this afternoon. Since we are just 1 month away before Christmas and 2020 is almost over, let me be one of the first people to greet you Merry Christmas and wonderful 2021 in advance. And as one of your preparations as a leader for the year 2021, let me share what I have here. These topics. First is to know the answers to the question, do you have a clear vision for the post-crisis, which is the pandemic, no? Future? Next is to discuss the questions leaders are asking on planning for 2021. And my 2021 list of books I suggest you read that may help you on your leadership journey. Why is it all important? It may be a preparation for us leaders and maybe to give you an idea and motivation to start thinking about your goals for 2021. So, as COVID-19 pandemic strikes the global economy and disrupts the way we live, work, and conduct business, leaders are scrambling to manage the immediate fallout. But as history proves, it's also necessary to prepare for what's next, right? Visionary leaders like Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela. For our locals, we have RCee, founder of SM and group of companies, and John Gokongwei, founder of URC, Cebu Pacific, and group of companies. Didn't simply react to the most eminent threats confronting them, right? They also looked beyond the dark horizon. They were guided and guided their people in turn by their vision for a better future after those challenges had been overcome. Vision, no vision. All of us have vision, mission, and goals in our company, right? So vision is especially urgent during a crisis, as global and systematic as this one. Inflections that you might have had 5 years to anticipate in a normal environment might unfold in a matter of weeks or months. Trend lines such as those towards telecommuting, telemedicine, online shopping, and digital media consumption are suddenly much steeper. Global supply chains are broken and even our local logistics, right? Nagsusulputan na yung mga pasabay, no, and the like. Many of your B2B or business to business customers may be shut down. Millions of customers are out of work. Consumers are out of work. So some of the fundamentals assumptions underlying your current business model may have been or soon to be upended. In short, the business environment that you land in when the pandemic comes to an end, which could be 1 to 2 years from now, may be very different from what it was before the crisis began. Diba? You need to begin preparing for it now. And to do that right, you need to have a longer term vision of what you aspire to become in 5 or even 10 years. This is what we call the North Star, diba? That will focus and help shape your thinking about the short and the midterm. It may be hard to see now, but the seeds of the next great growth industries are taking root now. Think back to Apple, no? The brand Apple 20 years ago, which famously envisioned and started to plan for the iPod and iPhone as its computer business came under enormous strain during the dot-com crash. Of course, nobody has a crystal ball, even Steve Jobs, diba? If such a thing existed, we wouldn't be in this fix, right? But while you can't predict what's coming with perfect certainty, you can develop much more clarity than you might imagine about what you could and should become. So create a plan to live into it and then set it into motion. Here's our process that may help you. No? The points that I will be discussing actually came from experience and research that I did to help me personally on my leadership journey, and in return help also other leaders or aspiring to be leaders. Well, as we know, leadership is about influence, right? So let's get into it. First point is spend time envisioning your future. Ideally, you should dedicate about 10 to 20% of your time on a weekly basis, the next few months to exploring and envisioning where you want your organization to be when the crisis passes, after this COVID-19. This aspiration, of course, should be consistent with your longer term vision. Given the urgent demands of the present, some leaders may be tempted to delegate the responsibility for this kind of thinking to others. But it is critical that the business owners, or for corporate, the CEO, CFO, or CSO, and other key line leaders should be the people who sign or the people who sign off on major resource allocation decisions should do this work themselves. Okay, so I'm not sure my what are the positions of my audience right now. Can you type in the chat box? Are you like the owners of the business, managers, supervisors, or are you entrepreneurs? Let me know on the comment section and chat box, and I will see it later. Just to have a feel of my audience right now. So moving on, interrogate what is likely to change about your customers, markets, and operating environment, and what isn't. Focus on what your customers will require, how you'll meet their new and evolving demands, the resonance of your products and services, and your overall capabilities. Just like with us here in Limitless Power Coach, nag-convert kami agad sa online training and webinars since hindi pwede ang face-to-face and down ang events business due to COVID-19. Also, ask how resilient your core business will be in the light of these changes. Consider both threats and opportunities and pinpoint elements of your portfolio that may no longer make sense and that will need to be sold off or shut down, as well as opportunities to accelerate new growth offerings. Question is, are you aware, or is the long-term vision in place already for your company? And is it communicated to the team or to the whole organization from time to time? You don't have to answer it on the chat box, but perhaps you can think about this question and answer it on your own for yourself. Okay, let me see. Most of the answers here at Zoom are supervisors and managers. There's also a nurse. We are 100 here, almost 100 in Zoom. So I hope everyone participates so that I know that you are listening to me. Okay, moving on. Second is to develop a strategy to walk back your envisioned future for today. Working backwards, lay out a path from your long-term aspiration to the midterm. Midterm is your post-crisis local focal point. And from there, today. So, pabaliktad, from future and then from today. Okay, pabaliktad. Reverse engineer a series of benchmarks and milestones at regular intervals along the way. The reason to start in the future and walk backwards is that, number one, it allows you to clean sheet what you could become without being overly constrained by the way things are today, or yung feeling na pwedeng may pumigil sa'yo or sa vision and goals of the company. Number two, it forces you to think concretely and in terms of peso or monetary value. And number three, helps you decide which investment should be given priority. To give you an example of how this works, suppose you are the president of a university. You know that online learning will be a major part of your future and anchored in new models that seamlessly blend online and in-person offerings. That future, already flourishing before the crisis and now being rushed into prime time, has accelerated, right? So step back from the mad dash to move this year's courses online, which is an admirable feat, no doubt, and imagine what you'll roll out at the start of the new academic year in 2021. Then ask yourself, what would have to be true? And by when for it to happen in the best possible way? Systems will have to be in place, curriculum locked down, integration with conventional offerings worked out, people trained and hired. Perhaps you can meet all your benchmarks if you create the program internally. Or maybe you need to partner with a developer or buy something off the shelf. Siguro naman by this time, universities and schools have had a feel already of this, no, by this time. Medyo ano na lang, polishing na lang, kumbaga, ng systems and processes. But basically, the leaders of these organizations are most likely prepared already for the year 2021. So question is, how about your company? Do you already have your strategy in place by knowing your long-term vision and working it backwards to create that winning strategy? So that's a question for you. You don't have to answer it in the chat box. Third is be prepared to learn and pivot. Given the rapidly changing environment that you are working in, make sure to measure, monitor, and formally review your progress. Initially, you will be working off assumptions or hypotheses, right? As you test them in the real world, you will have more data and experience to prove or disprove them. Based on what you learn, adjust both your vision and your strategy. Hindi naman kailangang fix ang vision and strategy. It may always change depending on a lot of variables. Minsan, ito yung nakaka-confuse sa mga members ng organizations or companies, no? Lalo na yung mga medyo nasa baba ng organizational chart. They feel confused kasi hindi nila maintindihan bakit pa bago-bago si sir, si ma'am, or si boss, no, in terms of the strategy or what they are doing, no, yung mga day-to-day tasks, biglang nag-iiba, no. Little did they know that this is part of being a leader. No? Having that adaptability and flexibility to change the course of the ship depending on the circumstances, whether it be internally or externally, right? So as you work forward your midterm and long-term goals, you must be attentive to both the strong and faint signals you receive. That requires a certain degree of humility, no? As you will likely have to surrender some of your certainties after they are tested against reality and fail. So minsan kailangan as leaders, we also let go of our pride and ego. Sometimes kasi, di ba, as a leader, if you decide on something and then it didn't work, parang gusto pa rin natin ipilit kasi that's our idea. So sometimes you have to humble yourself also as leaders. Speed and agility are key. You must learn quickly, constantly pivoting and adjusting. In doing so, you also revisit your vision and continue to shape it. Just like what we did in our team, everybody needs to learn and pivot I'm proud of my team. They really give their best to adapt rapidly because of the pandemic. Everyone needed to sharpen tools like develop new skill set and accept new or additional roles within the company. One thing is for sure, it was not easy and it's still an unending process for us. But I feel we are all growing and improving from it. So my question is, did you also experience this in your organization or companies where you need to change your direction? So you need to change some processes and systems, and you need to be adaptable. You don't have to answer it again in the chat box. Later, I have a question that I will ask you to answer. Last but not the least is rally your team around your vision. Your people and stakeholders will have to make sacrifices. So you want them to believe in your view of the better future that they can achieve. Ideally, you already have a long-term vision of what you want to be, which is inspiring, imbued with purpose, and relatively stable compared to the roller coaster you are on today. While a business can succeed without having an explicit mission, there's a close association between missions and margins. A strengthened sense of purpose, again, a strengthened sense of purpose, I learned, was the common denominator for successful companies. Like, for example, Facebook's mission to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. So kung nagtatrabaho ka sa Facebook, you know that whatever your role is, you are empowering FB users to be connected with friends and families. And as for us, Limitless Power Coach, we help our clients reach their limitless potentials by attending and learning from our webinars and online trainings. And for our partner speakers, we add platforms to their already existing means to let their message or teachings be heard through our pool of database of audience and social media accounts. My question to you now is, which by the way, I will ask you to write your answers on the chat or comment boxes. The question is, what is your company or organization's strengthened sense of purpose? Maybe you have redefined it now after the pandemic, or perhaps it has already existed even before. Like, what is the deeper sense of why you are doing what you are doing in your company? Let me know by typing your answer and I will read it later. So again, what is your company or organization's strengthened sense of purpose? Why are you doing what you are doing in your company? Or why are you selling something? Or why are you doing that service? Let me know in the chat box. So later I will read your answers because there are some delays on your messages. Moving on, come to think of it, it is impossible to overestimate gravity of the present crisis. Many of you are wrestling with existential challenges. Virtually all of you will have to adopt what amounts to a wartime footing, right? You may feel that you simply can't afford to carve out the time that it takes to set a vision and build a strategic path to it. But the leaders who manage the day-to-day and lead with vision will emerge from the crisis with companies that are stronger and more resilient than they were before. Okay. Still, I don't see answers from my question. Again, my question is, what is your company or organization strengthened sense of purpose? Why are you doing what you do in your company? Okay. Now, on to our second topic. Questions leaders are asking on planning for 2021. So in the face of our new reality. Many businesses remain closed or operate under restrictions, right? Business CEOs are thinking strategically about how they can keep their companies moving forward in the current environment while planning for the future. And the decisions leaders make now will define long term success both for their businesses and employees. As they look ahead, CEOs are asking themselves hard questions that shed light on their company's biggest challenges and help form a plan for 2021. In research with current and former CEOs from organizations representing industries around the world, I've gathered 5 common questions CEOs are asking themselves in preparation for the year ahead. Perhaps this could also apply to you as the leader of your company or as one of the leaders of your company at that. But before I continue, let me see your answers from my previous question. There's one here, a brave heart, that answered my question from Hazel Marquez. She said, to ensure that we deliver enough supply of medicines without comprehending its quality. Okay. Okay. So meaning now that it is pandemic, perhaps your role, no, Hazel, is very timely and important. And with the quality of medicine, we appreciate that that is one of your shared, strengthened sense of purpose within your company. Another one is Arturo. He said to continue offering quality and affordable education by exploring and using new technologies like flexible learning and online classes. Oh, and by the way, I'm working in an autonomous university in Lucena City, Quezon Province as a non-teaching personnel. Very good, Arturo. Another one is Annalisa Centeno says, selling memorial lots to have a great memory for their loved ones to create a revenue to my company. All right. Besides the revenue part, perhaps the strengthened sense of purpose is, of course, to have a place for your loved ones after they have joined our Creator. Close family ties and having this place for them is very important for us, to remember them. Okay, thank you for those answers. So I hope a lot of you will participate because I have more questions for you this afternoon. Now, back into our first question on planning for 2021. The first question is, how long will we be operating in short-term sprints? Okay. In the midst of the pandemic, many companies have found themselves focusing on short-term performance metrics so that they can quickly pivot and develop new strategies based on their results. When leaders focus on KPIs or key performance indicators, they can successfully measure and track in the near term. They are able to channel all of their resources toward driving key initiatives. Leaders are still referring to their long-term strategic plans as a reference point that can be adjusted as needed, no? And adhering to their organization's mission, vision, purpose, and values as their North Star. No? Kaya very important po na meron tayo mission, vision, and purpose and values sa ating companies. And it should be known and visible to all the members of your organization or company. Second question is, where are there gaps in skill sets among members of my leadership team? Okay. Many leaders are realizing how important it is to have a team who is comfortable with and can thrive in the midst of a great deal of change. Change is hard, di ba? But it's inevitable. Sabi nga nila, the only permanent thing here is change here on earth, right? Change is hard and it's coming everywhere. CEOs are actively working to ensure their teams are developing the capability to succeed in a constantly shifting environment. Communication. No? Communication is a big part of this. The most resilient leadership teams are in consistent communication with one another, rather than leaving what and how they communicate to chance. They also remain curious and open minded, listening to feedback from all levels of the organization, as well as outside perspectives to inform their strategic decisions. For micro, small, or perhaps even medium companies, may use GCs or group chats using mobile applications for fast, convenient, and effective communication. This is what we actually do within our team. We have different GCs on different concerns. Besides that, we also still communicate face to face via online conference or actual face to face meetups for a quick meeting or engagement. Third question is, how will my team want to work in the future? The reality is many companies, including your suppliers, partners, and customers, will likely be in a virtual environment in some aspects for a long time. Research shows that many leaders are offering flexibility to their employees, with 55% of companies allowing their teams to work remotely during the pandemic. We all now know that for companies in many industries, it's possible to successfully work remotely, diba? Now, leaders are focused on how to maintain the energy and connection in a long-term remote or hybrid work environment. They are also looking ahead and thinking about how their team will want to work long-term and what that means for recruiting and retaining talent, as well as for their business and work environment. In our team, here at Limitless, we do hybrid work environment. Some of our team members work from home and some work from the office, depending on the situation and need, especially if there are internet concerns. The office has different internet providers, which helps the team if ever one internet provider is down. Also, um, we go to the office or meet up for engagement and collaboration purposes. No? So those who are working from home need to be present sometimes in the office once in a while. Okay. Fourth question is, how do I bring more value to customers to over deliver? No, yung extra mile na tinatawag natin. One thing hasn't changed during the pandemic. The most successful leaders are laser focused on staying close to their best customers and understanding the strength of their relationship with them. Just as the best leaders have constant, clear communication with employees, they do the same with their clients. Leaders are taking these key questions into consideration. Questions like, what specific challenges are my customers facing? How will my company adapt our resources to address customers' current and future needs? Another is, what are coverage plans for servicing customers? And the strongest leaders are determining how they can add more value and consistently over deliver. Okay? And last but not the least is, how do we maintain or revive culture in 2021? From an employee perspective, it is clear when a company's culture is driven by its mission, vision, purpose, value, and most importantly, demonstrated by executive teams or the top leaders in your company. It can also be apparent when culture has been strained or when values have been pushed to the side. Effective leaders are transparent and consistent in communicating with employees. They don't resurface only to share the good or bad news. It is so important for leaders to keep their teams engaged and informed on challenges that lie ahead in order to maintain the culture they've built. To be a CEO or a leader does not mean you must be omniscient. No, omniscient meaning knowing everything, know it all. In a period of change like the present, there will be bumps in the road. But adaptable CEOs or leaders are leading right now with commitment, transparency, and flexibility. They are forming a team of people who are comfortable with change. And they are examining their leadership styles and asking key questions to identify necessary changes to propel their companies in 2021. Now, my question for you, leaders here with me today, are you comfortable enough to be vulnerable to your team, your company, or organization in terms of not knowing everything? Are you adaptable? Let me know your answer by typing yes, no, or whatever your answer is on the chat or comment box, and I will read it later. Okay? But before that, there are more answers here and some interactions here at Zoom about their strengthened purpose in their company. Demelens says to attain the optimal performance, which includes timely and efficient accomplishment. Leo, we strive for the continuous growth of our business by providing high-end copper foil for flexible PCB application. Okay. Jacqueline, to provide people's dream vacations and celebrations come true. Employees are nurtured, businesses flourish with our warmth of our hospitality. Nice. Perhaps you are in a hotel or travel and tours company. Wins, producing reliable vehicles that will serve its purpose, considering customer safety and will help increase customer satisfaction, right? Elizabeth Rojas, Maria Elizabeth says, to lead in the formulation, implementation, and coordination of social welfare and development policies and programs for and with poor, vulnerable, and disadvantaged. Wow, this is very philanthropic. Thank you for that, Mama Maria Elizabeth. And most of you here at Zoom says yes, no? Meaning you are okay to be vulnerable to your team members and let them know that you don't know everything. You need help sometimes and you are adaptable. That's great. Annalisa, Demelin, Jacqueline, Arturo, Wins, Jacqueline Pagligaran, Justina, Vanessa, Rosami, Maria Elizabeth, Apple, Jesseline, Leo, and Bernadine. Thank you for your interaction and participation here at Zoom. All right. Now let's move on to our last topic. As business leaders, successfully navigating during normal times can be challenging enough. During times of crisis like we find ourselves in today, maneuvering business can be downright daunting. No? We are all sick of 2020. Are you? I personally am, but more of the travel side. Like we can't go out overseas for vacation. But other than that, I have used this time in developing myself and my team skills and reconfiguring our systems and processes that will fit, as we say, the new normal. Well, we say new normal. We coined it in our me personally and for my team, amazing new. So here's my take on my reading list, which I want to share, and perhaps you too can feel better before 2021. What do your leadership skills look like right now? There is no better time than now to work on yourself as a leader. And there is no greater way to do so than by standing on the shoulders of giants. As such, here are my picks for the top three inspirational leadership books to begin your reading for 2021 to inspire and grow your leadership abilities to handle the challenges of today. Okay. Before that, let me also acknowledge that Maverick is also adaptable, and Mary Lou from Facebook. Who else? All right. So the first book of three books I recommend is Leading Without Authority. How the new power of co-elevation can break down silos, no? Transform teams, and reinvent collaboration. Keith Ferrazzi, entrepreneur, coach, and author of the game-changing book Never Eat Alone, presents a daring research-backed model of collaborative work. Ferrazzi, the author, details a new principle, co-elevation, that enables employees at all levels of an organization to connect with colleagues, collaborate freely, and inspire their shared growth. Leaders can learn how to use co-elevation in their own organizations to help their teams build trust, manage stress, and improve performance across the entire company. Second is Conscious Leadership, Elevating Humanity Through Business by John McKay. As a follow-up to Conscious Capitalism, best-selling author and visionary Whole Foods leader, this is an American company, Whole Foods, John McKay and his co-authors present a powerful argument for why conscious leaders are more needed today than ever before. They lay out what conscious leadership actually is and how one can become a conscious leader. These highly anticipated release features a renowned executive sharing the principles, vision, and mindset for how leaders today can drive positive change in society through intentional, conscious leadership. No? In leading people or influencing our people, it should be intentional, right? So this might help you. And last but not the least, is You Don't Have to Be Ruthless to Win. The Art of Badass Selfless Service by Jonathan Kaiser. Topping the charts at number one on the WSJ bestseller list, this brave and raw new book takes you inside the ferocious world of commercial real estate brokerage, where you see the author transition from a ruthless, money-hungry broker to a selfless leader at the helm of a rapidly growing industry disrupting brokerage firm. So sometimes as leaders, akala natin it's about the money, but no. No? Hindi lang siya about profits or income. No? It's about changing people's lives and a lot more deeper than that. But this book isn't really about Jonathan Kaiser. It's about how you as a leader can adopt this same counterintuitive strategy to create extraordinary long-term success in your own business. Okay? May I know here who are the readers? Who of you here are readers? You want to read, like you constantly read. You are a regular reader. May I know on the chat box? Can you type on the chat box? I am a reader. If you read books, not specifically leadership books, but you like reading. May I just know? Okay, Vanessa. Vanessa is a reader. Who else? Who else? Oh, Mary Michelle Josso is a reader. Also, Jacqueline, Rosaline, Jerica Manuel, Anna Passis, Flor Lamit, Annalisa Centeno, Apple Tagakit, Nicole, Robedillo, Arturo, Doña Sales, John. Oh, there are a lot of readers here. Maria Elizabeth, John Ronald Ginto, Annalisa Barredo, Justina Shirley Aguda, Marivic and Piso. Very good. I commend all the readers in this webinar. As we know, research says that regular reading improves brain connectivity, increases your vocabulary and comprehension, empowers you to empathize, with other people, aids in sleep readiness, reduces stress, lowers blood pressure and heart rate, fight depression symptoms, and prevents cognitive decline as you age. No? So there are a lot of benefits in reading. So I hope you become readers for those non-readers. Hi, Doc Nina, you're here. Welcome to our webinar here at Limitless Power Coach. Si Doc Nina, yan, very good reader. She can read this thick book, mga 8 weeks lang. Ano pa yun, once a week. She is a gold medalist of Ateneo Graduate School of Business, Regis program. She is my idol. Okay, so for those non-readers, perhaps you can include reading on your New Year's resolution, especially reading about leadership topics to improve on your leadership skills and competencies, which will help on your leadership journey. The admin will also share our link. We actually have on our website a tab for these books that I've shared, and there are other books as well. So you might want to check it out. They will, the admin will give you the link. All right. So we still have an ample of time for Q&A. Maybe I could answer one or two. You can write on the chat or comment box your questions. And while you do so, let me share my Facebook page link and email address. It is shown on the screen. All right. Maybe I can wait for a minute or two if you have questions. Thank you, Doc Nina. The feeling is mutual, naman. Maybe one of these days, I will ask you and invite you to be one of our speakers. Pwede ba yon? Okay, I'm waiting for questions. I have my gadgets here. I can see the Facebook Live, YouTube, and here at Zoom. Anyone? We are over 100 audience. Thank you for staying with me this afternoon. Okay, Justina Aguda is maybe a reader too. Janice Yala. Who else? Okay. Perhaps while still thinking for your questions, I can move on to my next slide. Okay. Here we have on the screen, I want to invite you on my upcoming online training. I actually have 3. This one on the screen is happening tomorrow. You can still register today and be part of it. It is a full course online training entitled Basic Skills of Leadership and Management. It is already on its 10th run. If you are a business owner, manager, supervisor, or anyone who manages people, this is for you. And next one is on December 4, another full course online training. This is a new workshop module I just did, which covers 7 key aspects to self leadership, including self discovery, self identity, self development, self direction, self awareness, self talk, and self mastery. It is a workshop, which means there are a lot of activities, and it would be fun to know more about yourself and your leadership journey. It is happening on December 4. Register as soon as possible to get discounted prices. And also, last but not the least, is the visualization, training the mind. Training the mind is training the body. It's a half course online training. This is also new. And it is good news because mental training can improve almost all our skills and fast track us towards our goals. Just like many psychologists and life coaches recommend mental rehearsal for all sorts of things, like on how to enhance assertiveness, smooth out an interview or a meeting, or even to enhance a date, which usually are social or work related. Athletes at the highest level are also encouraged to use visualization to improve their technique, motivation, and drive. When interviewing Olympic gold medalists, they discovered that several winners use visualization, not just for the sport technique, but also to capture the feeling of being awarded a medal. In this workshop, you would learn 5 applied visualization techniques to develop and apply. All these online trainings already includes an e-certificate, a copy of my presentation in PDF format, and a 30-day exclusive access of the recorded version on our YouTube channel. For more details, the admin will send you a link on the chat box. Also, if you want to get an e-certificate for today, you may contact the admin. Okay, so I guess, okay, there's a question here. Catalino Rivera asks, how do you keep a subordinate to be motivated? Okay, what a nice question. The answer is, first of all, you have to keep yourself motivated as well. Being the leader in your department or in your team, they are actually looking at you. No? So, as a leader, sabi nga natin, leadership is about influence. So, if they see that their leader is not motivated, so paano naman sila din mai-inspire or mai-influence to be motivated? So, as a leader, you have to keep them motivated by keeping yourself motivated as well. Another one is to know them better, to understand them, not projection, no, not finding the answer within yourself, but really understanding them and knowing them. What are their aspirations? What motivates them? Perhaps your motivation is not the same as theirs. So you have to know them better. And with that, malalaman mo kung ano yung, kung ano yung magpapamotivate sa kanila. And with that, alam mo dapat as a leader, with your intuition and your competencies and skills, paano mo yun magagawa, no, sa kanya. Like for example, ang motivation niya is monetary. So for them to be motivated, perhaps give her or him bonus or commission or extra pay or extra something that is monetary or maybe in kind, kung yun ang motivation niya. Perhaps her motivation is related to family. So maybe to keep her motivated, you always ask her, besides that, the day-to-day task that you're asking her about her job or task, maybe pwede mong kamustahin yung family niya. That way, she feels that you are concerned and you care for her or him. And that way, that will keep him motivated na, oh, itong leader ko na to, he or she is not only after my work, no, or yung task ko. She is also concerned about me. So with that, you can influence that person and keep her motivated. Okay? Sabi ni Maureen, yes, that's true, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vanessa, also for tuning in. Sabi niya, thank you, Ma'am Marcy, for this informative talk. All right, thank you also, Frances, Raimundo. All right, so I guess there's no more question. Okay. Again, thank you for staying with me this afternoon. For those who want to book me for speakership, here is my email address and Facebook page again. I also do accept bookings for 30 to 45-minute free webinars for your audience on topics related to leadership. If you are interested, just contact me on the email address provided on the screen. Okay, again, thank you and have an amazing evening. I will be turning off this share screen now and we will end YouTube and Facebook already while I join the people from Zoom for the photo op. For those who are in YouTube and Facebook, you may log in to Zoom if you want to join us. The link is provided by the admin. Okay, thank you everyone. I can see all your thank yous here at Zoom application. Uh-huh. All right. Okay. So thank you. Bye Facebook and YouTube. I'll see those people from Zoom.